Hey Boos, welcome to episode 30 of the Young Monarchs podcast. I just wanted to go ahead and start this episode by saying I love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every Monday for a new episode. Thank you for all your positive words of encouragement, your boost. Today I'm joined by Atlanta's own Bonnie Banks, media personality, a journalist and content creator for @newlanta_. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Like I said at the beginning, thank you for doing this because when I saw, we know each other from high school, but when I saw the pageants that you had done a few years back to now you being on radio to you creating your own platform, every time I saw you, I was just like, she is out here. She's doing it. She's doing exactly what she wants to do. Yes. And I was just like, it inspired me to be like, dang, like you need to go get yourself together, go do what you need to do too.
Yes.
So how have everything been? I know like jumping into the boss shit segment where we highlight a bomb ass woman kind of doing her own thing. I wanted to highlight you for this episode just because everything that you have going on. And like I said, everything that I've been like seeing about you throughout the years. How has this journey been for you so far?
Oh man, it's been a long one. And, a lot of people don't know that like in high school, I actually was playing sports a lot more. Mm-hmm. And pageants was not anything that I ever thought I would be a part of. I did see like we did have Miss Peachtree Ridge at the time. That's the high school we went to. And I always thought that was cool. I was like, okay, that's nice. Like good for you guys. But I never thought I'd be in pageants. And it took me going to college and not really focusing on basketball and track at the time, where my aunt was pretty much like, hey, you should just try it. Like just do it. And I ended up falling in love with that, which is what propelled me into broadcasting. Because at one point I was going to go to law school. So the journey has just been discovering myself, discovering my own voice, which I'm still continuously doing that. It's something that I think it starts to develop itself as you hop into the lifestyle versus like, I feel like sometimes you try to figure it out before you get into it. But really you just have to dive into your journey. And then throughout, like, the point of having a journey is that you are just finding yourself, you're creating yourself in the midst of it. And so I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to put a lot of my effort. That's why I've just been out here networking, getting to know people. And I think that I've had so many affirmations where it's like you are on the right path, because I've been in broadcasting for maybe about 3 to 4 years now. This might be my 4th year. Mm-hmm. And a lot of opportunities that people have searched for years end up just, I don't want to say falling into my lap, but they fall into place. Yeah. And so for me, that means that's an affirmation that this is for me. When you feel like you're trying too hard and things aren't working out and it feels like it's not connecting, then that might be a sign too, But I've always felt like for me, like things have just come at me and I'm like, oh, great. This is exactly what I need at this time. This is what I need at this time. And even being with B103, I ended up getting through them because I was with 92.9 The Game and learned that B103 was actually a part of Intercom as well. Mm-hmm. And I ran into the guy that runs the radio station. I didn't even know it was him. And he just ended up liking me and was like, yeah, sure. You're like, come do board out for us. So. And, that was just part of the journey where I was just like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought that I'd be on B103. Like I grew up listening to Frank Ski. I grew up listening to Wanda. Like, I can't believe I'm here. And then there's people that are like, how did you get into that? And they've been trying to get into it. And I'm like, I just landed here. Right. So it's been a journey.
Oh, I love what you said about how things just kind of fell into place for you. Because I kind of, like, I felt that exact same way getting into marketing and just wanting, like, out of college, I just wanted to get experience in entertainment. But then I found myself doing, like, red carpets, and I found myself doing, like, press days. And then I found myself, like, people saying, like, how about you just go do this screening by yourself and then come back? And I was like, y'all want me to do all this by myself? Just like those constant things of you making it look easy and beyond what you thought you would be doing at this point. I feel like it's a blessing and it's like a powerful thing. Like as soon as you realize that and you're like, God is just really out here doing his thing and
doing his thing for you. And I think that some people forget that. Like I like to look at God as of course, like if you're religious or anything like that, but he is ultimate. And then also you have this other power that works with you, which is the universe. And so I think it's extremely important to put things out in the universe. When you talk about them, the universe will manifest those as well. And when you're doing actions, the universe manifests those as well too. So, you know, I've gotten the same thing. Like I've been in 9-to-5s and corporates, and they're like, you know, this just does not fit you. You know, I was a paralegal at one point, and she was like, you know, I just think you would do better in a creative space. And I was like, yeah, like I don't really like doing this at all. So you have to kind of sometimes just look at the signs. And once, you know, I got to a point where I got fed up. Like I got tired of just doing things that wasn't making me happy. And I got tired of being complacent in where I was and just kind of putting things off. And I feel like once you get to that point and people keep telling you that you're supposed to be in these other positions, other things, then you'll find yourself where you're supposed to be at.
I feel that completely. I know when I got to like that point of what you're talking about, I was on my porch and I was just like, something is missing. Like this shit is horrible. Like what is going on?
I hate it here.
Like I hate it here and something has got to change.
That's exactly what happened. I ended up getting fired from my paralegal job because I just was self-sabotaging. And it was fine. Like the thing is, like when I got fired, I was like, okay, great. Like I can commit so much time now to the radio station because I saw all the things that everybody was doing. And they were like out on the streets and they were doing all this stuff. And I was like, I can't because I'm working from 9 to 6. And when I got fired, she was just like, okay. And I think right after that, I was supposed to go to Mexico. And she told me, like, she is her own lawyer. She's got her own business. And she was like, you know, for me, I ended up getting fired from this place. And I went to, I think she said she went some beach or something like that. And then came back and started her own business. And she was like, sometimes that's what you need. And literally that's the same position that I was in. So even in that paralegal opportunity, I ended up meeting somebody that literally told me, like, you know, just take a moment and figure out what you want to do and then start your own thing. And literally I got fired a week after was my birthday. So me and my friend went to Mexico, chilled in Mexico for about a week, came back, and I started up New Lanta. And ever since then, like the ball's just been rolling. And so I'm grateful that I got fired because it's like, I didn't need to be in that position. That position did not propel New Lanta, but it did help me see other aspects of business.
True. Because you take something from everything. So what was your drive to start New Lanta?
Man, so New Lanta came from, originally I used to be on this podcast for sports, which is probably what you remember when I used to do it on Facebook, Clutch Sports Media. And I had my own segment. It was Bonnie's Burning Question. And so I would pretty much do like entertainment in sports or questions in sports, things in the realm of sports, but I wasn't reporting. And so I was pretty much the mediator in that. And I was like, I like doing this, but I'm not a big fan of wanting to report sports. I will, but it's not like, I want to do that. But I was working at 92.9 The Game as well, which is sports talk radio. So that helped do with that whole section. Then when I transitioned to V103 was when I got really into entertainment. I was meeting people like Lil Baby, Kevin Gates came up there. So we had all these celebrities coming up there and I was like, oh, I love this. Like, and I've always loved music. I love singing. I love dancing. And I was like, you know, I want to be a personality, but I want to be like a radio personality with my end goal being something more of like The View where the girls talk on there visual. But pretty much that's what happened. And I was like, I think that a lot of artists that are unsigned that aren't getting recognized are not being put out in the public. There's so many streaming services, but they're locked out because they're not getting the exposure. And so that's kind of what birthed New Lanta was like, hey, I want to start exposing new artists. I want to do that. And with that, I started interviewing. We had Roscoe Dash on. We had Aaron Kirby. All these people that I have networked through V103 again and brought them onto my show. And then now New Lanta.
Oh, I do like your setup. I love your setup on your videos.
Yes. Shout out to Casablanca Studios because she's dope. She lets us use her studio and we get to record and she's got all this equipment. But yeah, like, so it started with artistry and then I pulled in my co-host Millie, and she has just been a great addition. We are like, I call her my wife at this point because she's a partner, but it's like we are working wives, and she has been the yin to my yang and just being the videographer. And she has brought in other things that we want to do. So now we focus on like other business women. We focus on entrepreneurs that are in Atlanta, artists that are in Atlanta. We had King Pop on. So anything Atlanta, anything culture, that's what New Lanta is supposed to be. It's going to be like the new version of Atlanta. Okay. And that's like, it's my baby right now, and it's just, we're nourishing it, and we just have so much support. So I'm so excited that New Lanta has like taken off as quickly as it has, because it started in February and then Corona hit, as you know.
Oh, yeah. So it just started and it's still growing. Like, it's beautiful. I love your content. When I was looking this morning, and I saw like all the page, I was like, who is doing this page? Like, there was so much like information when you're scrolling through, like, it's visually appeasing. And then like the videos you do, the Instagram live conversations, I was like, shout out to the content creators. I know this is a lot.
It's fun. And at one point it was just me content creating. I was editing our videos. And Millie finally got a computer and she was able to help me a little bit now. But, you know, we talk all the time and we talk about that. We talk about content because that's so important as a business, like what you're putting out on Instagram, what you're putting out on Facebook, how it looks to people. And, you know, that's one of the skills that I've owned in on because of the pandemic. So again, the pandemic has helped me be like, okay, I can go on YouTube and watch a 5-minute clip on how to do this and figure out Adobe. So it's a challenge, but we have made it through.
There.
Yes, we made it through.
So how's it been? It's an awesome thing for like you to already be on like this very well established platform and to be creating your own very well established platform at the same time. What is it like building your name? Because media personalities like Greg Street, Frank Ski, Wanda, like you said, kids are hearing them from the time they're 5 to the time they're 18 plus, driving in their own cars. How has it been building a name for yourself in a city like Atlanta?
Oh, it's, you know, sometimes I think that it's challenging. You know, I've been around the likes of Greg Street, especially when I was at V103. I was always hanging out with him. And I just watched how he moved, him and Tigger particularly. Tigger came from a different type of era because he was on TV. So his movement is a little different than somebody such as Greg Street that is very locally known, and Tig is a little bit more, you know, nationally known. But just building my brand as Vonnie Banks right now, it's about being out in the community. And I think one thing that somebody told me that has stuck with me is you start with your small community, then you open to your city, and then you open to your state. And so when you start doing things within Atlanta and you're always out in Atlanta, you're going to meet so many people. And the thing about Atlanta is that, one, everybody thinks they're a celebrity, so it's great. You're talking to everybody that thinks they're a celebrity.
And they all want to talk.
And they all want to talk to you. And they all want to network with you. And they all, you know, they believe in what they're selling, their products. So it's a great atmosphere to be in that aspect, because it's like, I want to connect with you. I want to connect with you. I want to connect with you. And you need that. When you're building a personality, you need that. And I ended up learning Greg Street, that's what he did. Like, he was in the studio with these artists. He was around them all the time. And so what happens was, when you build that camaraderie, your name gets out there. They'll put your name out there. Like, Greg used to shout me out on the radio all the time. And like, at one point I was like, why do you always do that? But then I just remember somebody following me on Instagram, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're the girl that Greg Street yells about. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. You know? So you think about that, and it's just like, that's what building your brand is. You got to start at the bottom. Everybody has to start small. You got to start with 50 followers and build from there. You know, people will support you. People will see what you're doing and respect your grind at the end of the day.
Right. So what is it? So I'm coming from like a marketing background and that experience as a woman. What is it like being a woman in radio?
Oh, girl.
I'm sure it's like you get hit on and all the other stuff, but what is like your experience in general, good and bad?
Oh man. All right. So I'll start with the good, because I feel like the good, I always want to tell the good, because everybody can semi get the bad. But the good is when you're an attractive lady in radio, if you're a woman in radio in general, but attractive lady in radio, it's easy to kind of use that to finesse and get what you want. And I know a lot of women are like, that's not good. But you know what? God gave us beauty. You got to use it. Okay. Right. These men, they use whatever they can. We got to use what we have. So I will say, being an attractive female, you can get away with a lot more things when you're trying to just talk to any artist or talk to somebody, because they're going to want to talk to you, period. It's up to you as a woman, though, to lay down your moral code, to lay down how far you're going to go as a person. Preferably for me, I've talked to Roxy. She was on 106 & Park, if you remember her. Yeah. So Roxy, she gave me some great advice. She was like, look, I may not have gotten as far as I want to go right now because of the things I've decided to say no to. And it's okay to say no, because that's what your morals are. That's your standard. Me, I'm very particular about things that I put on my page. You won't see certain things like smoking on my page. You won't see a lot of nudity on my page. Even when I post like a bathing suit pic, I'm kind of like, So there's certain things that I choose to not post. And I think that carries on to when I meet a male artist or a male, somebody in entertainment that's a male. I carry myself in a certain way where it's like, don't try me, because I will shut it down very quickly. So you have to kind of just know that part of yourself. And of course, you're going to get hit on. Men hit on you when you walk into the bagel shop. That's regular. You know what I'm saying? It's hard out here to be a woman sometimes, okay? Because they're going to try regardless. But, one thing I did notice too was sometimes men get more privileges and more opportunities because they're a man in this world. And that was one of the things that New Lanta particularly wants to focus on, is being a media outlet for women that are in broadcasting, particularly Black women that are in broadcasting. That's something that we take pride and ownership in. And I've seen talented women just get part-time or get certain slots just because they're women. And you see these men, you're just like, I don't even understand. I don't get how we're moving in the same direction. I'm putting in 2 times as much work and I'm still not getting the same outcome. And you see a lot more men in higher positions, such as program directors or people that are hiring the on-air talents. So another part of New Lanta is showcasing that women are in broadcasting, and we are doing a lot. You see a lot of Jamel Hills now, you know what I'm saying? You see a lot of Taylor Rooks. Taylor went to school with us. We see her doing dope things. And I think Taylor is super talented and should be a lot further. But, she's on the grind. She's moving up. And I love to see that.
I've been seeing Taylor stuff since she left high school, right? She was a year or two above.
She had her head down and she was ready to go. She was not playing with nobody. I remember I think I saw her on Bleacher Report or something like that. And I was like, what? This is Taylor. Oh my gosh. She didn't care about nobody at school. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. So kudos to her. But just even seeing her journey, you kind of look and you're just like, and she's so talented. So, but sometimes I just don't feel like we get our roses in this industry. And we'll be very knowledgeable, and men will try to act like we wouldn't know these things, such as sports. And Millie, she's smarter than me in sports. She'll run you down on a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we just don't get our flowers. And that's why New Lanta is another outlet for Black women journalists.
Especially to grow that space and to show like you can thrive without having to piggyback off of boys' time and time slot.
And I always feel like it's like you have to use a man to pull you, but I guarantee you most of the time the women are the one that are holding it down and the men are just kind of climbing. So I just be like, how? Like I never understood it, but I've decided that sometimes you just got to make your own paper. You got to make your own lane.
True.
Because if you keep trying to drive in other people's lane, then you're gonna have to deal with what their traffic rules are.
True. That's how I feel.
Make your own lane.
What advice do you have for women who are either looking to get into broadcasting or just media in general?
Oh man,
with those challenges, and you already saying needing to know yourself and your limits for especially in an entertainment industry,
right?
But are there other nuances outside of networking and just kind of being on your grind?
Yeah, I think besides networking, because networking I've learned is the biggest thing, especially in broadcasting, because sometimes it's literally not what school you went to, it is who you know. And they'll bring up your name in good places, and they'll invite you to events because they trust your work. But if I had to say one thing, know your shit. If you are going to report on something, report on somebody, make sure you have the background information. Don't get caught slipping. I've gotten caught slipping and I hated it. It was the worst interview ever with Lil Durkio, and there was like 3,000 people on this live. And I messed up his label name. And of course, he got smart with me. He was like, like, you should know this. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I'll definitely say, like, fact check. If you're ever going to come at somebody with something that they said, bring up where they said it at, so they can't be like, oh, I don't remember saying that. You know, I think that sometimes women get counted as being not as intelligent or not as on our things, you know what I'm saying? So I think just coming in media, make sure if you're going to report something, know that thing front to back, know that you're coming in, know what you're going to say, be able to do things within 2 takes, be able to say what you're going to say and nail it and get out of there, because sometimes you don't have a lot of time. Be prepared, you know, be professional. I personally, I worked with chicks in the sports and we were around a lot of athletes. I will never give out my number to an athlete especially when I'm working in that environment. If they're trying to talk to me, that's great. You can follow chicks in the sports, like, give us a holler, later. Shout out. You know, this is a great time when they are trying to talk to you to get footage for what you need, because now you can use your beauty again for your advantage. Use those things for positive. So I tend to do that, and I always recommend women don't fall into the trap of, if you're in the media and entertainment industry, of dating these men, because you don't want to get around. You don't want your name to get around. Be professional all the time. So for me, that's my biggest rule. And I would tell that to any woman. I tell that to my friend Millie, like, we're not dating you cats. Like, we're friends. And they'll respect that. Usually they'll respect that. If they're on the grind and they're working to get there, they'll respect that as well. And when you get to where you want to and you feel comfortable with that person, you guys are truly friends, because there's a difference between just being network buddies and being friends. Then you can do that in your own right.
I love what you said. We have a whole topic about, like, being attractive in an entertainment, like, field, because I realized I knew coming from the gate, like, yes, I am attractive, but I need to be taken seriously, like a male dominated field that I want to grow in. Like, I envision myself, I want to run Essence festivals. I want to run Coachellas. I want to run events like that with all type of different aspects. And I can't be given one task. It's like, put this case maker event on. We're going to have some radio, some influencers come through, and local celebrities. I can't be all up in these people's faces getting pictures. I can't be like I could be drinking with you once this is done. Like, maybe
when it's over after my conversation. When I clock out.
But I'm having to make sure things is going well. And I realized quickly, working with other women who told me that just off the gate, like, they're going to try to hit on you, blah, blah, blah. I knew that, but paying attention to the girls who didn't know that or didn't care, I kind of instantly was like, oh, you don't really want to do this.
No. And you'll be able to, the thing is, some girls will use that as their excuse to get into it, but it's personally, I don't want to look down on anybody, but personally, it's not respectable to me. Because at the end, it sometimes ends up being a sabotage, because if you stop talking to this person, something happens, you guys get mad. Now you don't have that connect anymore. What happened to that connect? It's gone. And if you needed that connect for something in the future, or, 2 years down the line, it's like, oh, I could have totally used this person for, this and the third. You can't, because your connect has been severed. So that's why I'm always very particular on just making sure we establish that, hey, like, don't try to talk to me. I'm good where I'm at. But I would love to have a professional relationship with you. I think that me and you can both benefit on this. And any man, again, that is about his stuff, is trying to move forward, he's going to respect that, period. And it's going to be more attractive to him in the long run if you really do like this guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's going to be worth actually talking to in the long run. But just trying to do it initially, I don't think it's not a smart business.
Yeah, it's not smart at all. Not right at the gate. I know for me, I always also think about the people in the room. Like you said, you met someone who was an executive who could give you a promotion, get you a better spot.
Right.
And I think about that anytime I'm at an event or running something. I'm like, there's other bosses in this room of other brands, other companies that I could possibly work for. And I can't be drinking more than one drink. That's my kind of rule when I'm working.
That's number one. I think a lot of women forget that part.
Right. Especially in Atlanta, and you're at an event and you're having fun. A lot of people change that like working mode to fun real quick when the environment isn't right. But then our role is entertainment. So we have to be on business from the beginning to the end.
Right. And I think that that's extremely important part that you brought up, because I have been to several functions where it's like, I don't want to drink, and through pageants, I've also learned, like, in pageants, it's very conservative, especially the Miss America organization. So you weren't allowed to have drinks in your hand in pictures. You weren't able to have pictures where there might possibly be wine being shown or served, or red cups. So even that just helped me to bring that into my own life. If you look on my page now, you might see like two pictures with champagne. I think I have one because it was my birthday. So it's like, okay, that's your birthday, sis. Like, you invited your friends. That's your time, but me just kind of being out willy-nilly with drinks and doing things like, no, like, I'm not going to do that because it's not professional for me. I don't want people to, your brand is always, when you're a personality, your brand is always on. It's never really off. And you see that with celebrities, when we catch celebrities in something that they weren't supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we catch Doja Cat, you get canceled real quick because you was acting a fool, sis. So like, your brand is always on. You have to remember that.
What are kind of like some struggles that you may deal with, and I can share some of mine as well, on this road of like becoming who we feel like we're meant to be, especially when it comes to like maybe peers not doing the same thing and thinking positive, working hard, stuff like that?
Yeah. It's hard, especially when I think just women in general, we see a lot of, the media really tends to own in on us and how we're supposed to view ourselves. So sometimes that can translate over to just looking at social media. I remember before I even started New Lanta, but I just remember trying to get my feet on the ground and be like, oh, this is what I want to do. Where do I start? What do I do? How do I get to these places? And I started seeing Daniela. She went to our school too. She was doing a lot of red carpet things too with Intercom, actually. And I remember telling myself, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to get there. How can I get there? Like, why am I not there? What, like, you start kind of doubting yourself. And I was in that bucket for a long time until I decided, like, you know what? I'm going to do that. One of my things I said, I think I saw her do Luda Day weekend. And I was like, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to be doing Ludacris, like, Luda Day weekend. Literally, I think 2 years or last year, that's what I did, because I spoke that into existence and I said it. But it's really easy to compare yourself again in your journey to what you see other people doing. I have other personalities that I follow, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, they got like such a good opportunity. Like, how'd you get that opportunity? Or, and I talked to my co-host, again, Millie, I'm just like, I feel like we're not doing enough. I feel like we're not going in the right direction. I feel like we don't have a lot. And then I sometimes have to take a step back and look at what I've done, though, and where I've come from. I went to school as a history major with no intent to do broadcasting. I was going to go to law school. And then I decided to go get my certificate at this school. Another challenge I faced was with my parents. My parents are Jamaican. They're extremely conservative, old school. You go to school, you become a lawyer or doctor. That's your options. You don't do anything else. And if you do anything else, it's because you're working a 9 to 5 and you get a 401k, all the basics, healthcare, all that. And I'm still going through that now. And sometimes it's hard because you feel like the people that you love or that love you too aren't as supportive, and they don't share or see your vision. And so sometimes I have to remind myself, like, they don't know any better because they came to America for me to have a better life. And for them, it may not feel like I'm going in the right direction because it's like, I'm not in school. I'm not going back to school. Not that I know of right now. And, but they want me to. My mom wants me to go to school. She wants me to do my 9 to 5s and have 401ks. But it's like, that's not my passion. And so sometimes it runs into your psyche, because then you start doubting yourself and you're like, should I do this? Can I keep doing this? I could make more money working at 9 to 5s, but I'm not going to be happy, but I get more money. So it's like, which one do you want? Do you want to just satisfy and live for your parents, or do you want to live for yourself? And that's where it came, like, the railroad came down to me. I was like, I can't keep living for my parents, but I'm going to be unhappy. I have to live for myself. And at the end, usually what happens is when you make it, then they see the vision. And then they're going to hop on the train and be like, oh, this is what you were doing? This is it. Right. And, it's hard for them to understand now because we're at the bottom. Like, even my mom's like, you're not getting paid for some of the stuff you're doing. That's media. Media, you will tough it out for a couple years of not getting paid. And then even when you do get paid, you're probably getting paid barely anything. And then when you get to where you're going, now you can ask, demand interest on top of everything you're worth. You know what I'm saying? But that's the game in this. And other than that, like, my friends see that this is something that I can do. A lot of people see that this is something that I should be doing. When I wasn't doing it, it was like, why aren't you doing it? It's just my parents that are kind of like, they're old school. So I love that they care about me, and they do support me in a lot of things that I do, but I understand where they're coming from. And sometimes you just have to put your head down and just be like, I'm not going back and forth with you, because this is gonna take off. I believe in myself enough that this is going to take off, and you're just going to have to hop on the bandwagon when you see it.
Oh yeah. I feel the exact same way. Cause even with something I got my degree in, like marketing, I wanted to go entertainment, which is the pennies of the marketing. Cause I could have gone like corporate or brands or something. And there was, sometimes I have this conversation with my mom where she's like, what about healthcare? What about cars and things like that? And I was like, I don't want to market healthcare. Like, I want to market a movie or a show or something. Yes. And even creating Young Monarchs, I see like the podcast and the YouTube channel as the stepping stones to the full business and everything I want to get into. And a lot of times when it comes to that part of like the psyche of me just never being like a super open person, never being very like boisterous or bubbly around like the world, this podcast is kind of helping me step by step live out that journey of me finding my voice and having an opinion and sharing my opinions that I've always had with everyone else because of where I see myself. So with me, I come from like, not like super conservative, but my family is very like, both my parents are very like, watch what you do, watch how you look. My mom's like, you need to wear t-shirts, cover it up, like put a little makeup on your face, do a little something.
Oh yeah, my mom gets me for that all the time. No.
And I'm just, a lot of the times I find myself not saying or doing all the things that I want to do because of what my parents would think.
Yep.
But to the same point of what you said, I'm at a place now where it's like, I'm going to do what I want to do because of the visions that God gives me and where he's showing me that I can go if I listen to me and listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
I never want to make like, my parents feel like I'm not listening or I don't understand the lessons that they've taught me. But I do sometimes find myself wanting to be like, I'm also God's child and he put something in me that I have to work through, or I'm always going to be like, well, what if I did this?
You didn't do it. Yeah. I feel the same. That's crazy because I feel the same exact way. I went so long with just trying to please my mom. I'm trying to please everything that you do. And it got to the point where I felt like I wasn't even myself anymore. And that's why I originally, that's why I got out of pageantry for a minute. I was like, I'm tired of this. Because even in pageantry, you have to watch what you post. You have to watch certain things. And it's like, I don't feel like myself. I listen to some ratchet trap music too. And I'll throw up a couple curse words with the music. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to post that. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that because I'm very sure you listen to the same songs I do. You just don't say it. And so I got to the point where I had to block my mom on Facebook because she didn't like one of the posts that I put up. And it was a genuine post where I was just telling people that I was kind of scared to step out of my comfort zone on YouTube. This is when I was trying to just do my own YouTube channel. And I was like, telling people like, oh, everybody feels like it would be so easy because I've done pageants and this and that, but it's actually really hard to put your own self out there.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just don't like that post. And that's when I knew. I was like, I have to take you off because you're going to prevent me from wanting to share who I actually am with the world. And just be, sometimes I think our parents forget, like they forget that they've raised us a certain way. And I truly believe that my parents have raised me into a strong person. And, I can go out and maneuver the world. And sometimes they forget that. And so that's why when I realized that, I was like, I can't keep pleasing my mom or I'm going to be unhappy. I'm literally going to be unhappy until God forbid my mom or my family goes to be with Christ. But like, I've heard people say that that's the one time, especially a lot of like gays or LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
they'll say like that's when they felt free because they were able to be themselves because they were so stuck on how their parents viewed them. And I was just like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
If I wait that long, I'm going to be 70.
Yeah.
Probably 100 because I don't want my parents to ever die. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if I wait that long, I'm never going to live the life that I truly want and truly be happy and live in the purpose that God has given me.
I feel you, because I find myself now trying to figure out how much to share without pushing people away completely. Like, I want to be able to share who I am with everybody, like not just people who tune into my platform, but my parents, my whole family. And you find yourself like, when you do share, like maybe share what you're working on or a piece of content that you're about to come out with, and it's either you or the topic is edited or commented on in a way of where it's kind of like, you shouldn't do that. Like your post, like take that down, or you shouldn't say that, or don't say it this way. To me, I get very defensive.
Of course. You put a lot of
I'm just like, I can't share anything with you, because even me sharing this small piece of content that I chose to share with the world, what if I shared something that I haven't shared with the world yet? How are you going to feel about that?
You feel like they just kind of criticize everything that you do. Yeah, I feel like we're going through the same thing, sis. We are going through the same thing. But I learned that, and I hate this part because I've learned that I almost had to keep it. You know, that saying where it's like, you don't have to share your ideas with everybody. You don't have, like, some people just don't need it. Some people may be the people you love, which is your parents, that don't need that idea right now. But when you get to a point where you are living in your truth and you can move without even, if somebody says something bad about yours and you're like, I don't care, I've got 700 people over here that, you know, they care. When you get to that point, then you can start probably sharing more ideas with your family, because your headspace is going to be different. But I feel like at the beginning, like right now, I have been keeping a lot of my things on the down low from my mom, just because I know she's going to criticize it. She's going to say something about it. She'll act like she supports it one moment and then kind of comes back and hits it down. And it's like, it's okay sometimes that it's the people that you love, because they just don't see your vision right now.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes have to tell myself, it's okay right now. I know that my parents love me. I know that they care. They support me in everything that I've done. So this is not going to be different. It's just that I'm older now and I'm doing something that's very different than what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
So you just have to remember that sometimes.
I know, like, our parents have all the tools that they've entrusted in us. And sometimes, like you said, I think they forget how they raised us and how we couldn't go everywhere and how we had to act a certain way and how we had to be polite and blah, blah, blah. When it comes to us making our own decisions, they're still wanting us to make every decision holding tight all those values. Whereas generations are a little different. We see the world differently. We see the world more. And I feel like a lot of times that they don't take into consideration, which probably by the time we have children, they'll be just like our grandparents. Like, it's just, they're totally different than you. Like, understand, like, they're different.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes that's what I have to think about too, because we grew up in a time where we were the transition kids for social media. So we kind of had it, but we didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? Our parents don't know social media. They don't know what's going on with social media. There was a time where my mom was like, don't be on your phone when you're at the dinner table. But now I go upstairs and my mom is on Facebook, like, all the time. So, you know, so sometimes you just have to remember that it's sometimes they just don't know. And so they can't help you. You know, they can't help something that they've never seen or don't understand. You know, we did grow up in a different time. We can use the tools and resources that we have now, including the tools and resources that our parents engraved into us. And that's what makes us better. You know what I'm saying? So I always just try to remind myself that there's going to be a lot of challenges. This is just one of them. I've dealt with this even with pageantry. Like, my mom used to model, so she loved to be like, you need to wear this, you need to wear this. And I'm like, I don't want to wear that, you know? And when I decided, there's moments I remember picking things for myself and I didn't care if she wanted it or not. Like, she'd be like, I just don't like it. And she has a distinct attitude when she doesn't like things. And I was just, at one point I was like, I'm just going to shrug that off because I really love this. And those were the times I felt like I shined the most. That's when I started winning a lot more prelims because I was wearing the dress that I chose, that I created, that I wanted, regardless of what she thought. And you know what ended up happening later on down the line? I think I wore that same dress like at least 2 years for a lot of my prelims. She ends up like loving the dress, and I'm like, I'm ready to change dresses. She's like, well, just wear that one. And it's like, actually, like, this one's outdated. So they do come around, but it just takes a while. And sometimes it doesn't help when you're really close with your family. Like, I'm really close with my mom. I live in the basement, so I'm like really close with both of my parents. Sometimes it doesn't help because that's like a little overbearing. And I'm down here doing things such as recording, and they send my dog down here, and it's like, I can't have him down here. I'm trying to record, and they don't understand some things that you're doing and the way that you move just because they don't come from this era. They don't come from this generation.
Yeah. And I think for people who may not have like someone to tell them these different things, I feel like they just have to remember when you work hard towards something positive will come out at the end.
Absolutely.
Like we look at Beyonce, I think of like Diddy when he talks, and LeBron James, and just seeing that they had a vision for themselves and nobody could stop that vision, and they worked hard towards every day. And now you see them reaping all the benefits of their labor, and you see them being their true selves and living freely. And that's like a constant reminder for me sometimes when maybe my parents don't understand, or when I don't feel like I can talk to somebody close to me about this type of experience and the highs and lows of it. I just think about them and their story, and I know, and constantly probably have to remind myself sometimes, like, I'm going to get to these visions in my head, and they're going to be even better than what I'm thinking about right now.
They always come out better. And it's crazy that you say that too, because I always think about that. People that didn't care, and it's like the cliches, we forget the cliches, but people that didn't care what people thought, or people that didn't support their vision or anything like that, they looked at them and they were like, I don't care that you don't. Because at the end of the day, you know what people always support? You when you're making money. So when you have Diddy's that made so much money and they can do these things, and we're not looking at Diddy crazy anymore. We're looking at Diddy for inspiration. But I bet when he was going through it, people were like, oh, that's not going to happen, or you're crazy. Or da-da-da. But here he is now, being dope. He's got money. All of them, I feel like all the creators always have that sort of mindset. They always have that storyline. And so that's why when I'm doing things, and I see some people that like may not really, they're like, oh, that's just another shade room, or, oh, that's another Jasmine brand. Like, no, we're not. We're definitely different from them. And it doesn't matter how many shade rooms you have. They're all making money though. And that's one thing that I've always told myself. I was like, at the end of the day, when I make my money, are you going to say something? And if you are saying something, then I don't need yours. I got somebody else that's over here that's going to support me.
And they always come around. Like you see, like in whatever story, the haters, the people who know you but didn't support you. 10 years from now, they're going to be trying to get the number like, Bonnie, do you remember?
Yes, exactly. You're going to be like, you can go through my assistant, actually. I've always been, so I'm a Sagittarius, and my co-host is a Capricorn, and she's a lot more forgiving than I am. I'm very much a person that's like, if I don't like the energy, if I don't like the vibe, I'm already off the bat like, I'm good on this.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
Yeah, like it takes me a minute to really adapt to people. Like my close friends now are like, they're like, oh, well, you didn't really talk to me. And I was like, that's because I needed to feel you out. Like, I like to people before I'm just like, hey, so a lot of them always felt like I didn't like them. But it's like, no, it's not that I even have trust issues. It's just like, sometimes some people will steal your energy. And that's how I've always been. Like, people tell me all the time, they're like, well, you have great energy. It's because I'm protective of it. Like, I don't put a lot of people in it if I don't like how you move, because now you're rubbing energies with them, you're exchanging wavelengths, and I don't want mine to be off. Mine is going great, and I realized that even with your relationships with men, connecting with them, you have to be careful, because when you connect with them, they give you whatever they've got. So bad energy, if it's other bad things, you're going to get it. Like, so you just have to be really protective of that. And I feel like that goes a long way too. in an environment such as entertainment, where you're meeting a lot of people and networking with a lot of people, I've gotten so many good connects because I've had good energy, and people loved just my energy in general. And they're like, oh, well, I just love it. And that's how I ended up getting the studio. Like, she gave me the studio for a certain price and was like, I just thought your energy was great. Like, okay, like, I'm getting good vibes off of that, you know?
That's
so
good.
Like, that's something I've always promoted. Always protect your energy, yourself, and know who's around you. Like, I surround myself with women that are businesswomen already, like-minded, or extremely motivational. You know, I should be able to come to you and be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. At one point I was going through a lot of social anxiety, I think because of the corona, which is very unlike me, because it's not that I don't like to go out, but I'm very like, I'm good, I'll stay home. But it got to the point where it was like, I did want to go out and I couldn't. Like, my mind just didn't want to, and I didn't want to talk to people. And I had to share that with my friends, which I kind of felt stupid, because I feel like there's a stigma in the Black community for that. But my friend was like, no, it's okay to like feel like, you know, you can't talk to people right now. It's okay to feel like that. You give a lot of your energy through podcasting, through these interviews. A lot of that goes out. So sometimes you have to stay in, and you need to surround yourself with good people, protect your energy, and you're good to go. You know, I feel like that's got me a long way.
I feel like you've been that way the entire time I've known you, and it just
I think I've gotten better at just being nice off the rip. But I do remember in high school, like, I didn't talk to a lot of people, and I was just like, I don't know why I did it, but you know,
I like to fill people out, just like you said. And I noticed I've done that all my life. So I've always been like quiet and observant and just watching other people.
Right.
And then but I've just never, I'll say it now, I have never been able to read you a day of my life. In high school, I would be able to just pick up on people like, oh, she's nice, or oh, she's mean, or whatever. Right. But every time I saw you, I was just like, I don't know.
Girl, I think in high school, though, I didn't know myself, because I was just I didn't go out a lot, but I did go out sometimes.
Same.
And then it was like, I was home. My parents kept me at home a lot. So
I really the same thing.
Like, I was just like, you know, I liked school, though. I loved going to school. I loved learning. I loved it, and stuff like that. But I feel like it's one of those things where a lot of people didn't expect me to. Some people expected me to be where I am now, as far as like pageantry and stuff. And I didn't see that in myself. So that's, again, like, some things that people can see in you that you don't see. But I never thought that I would really be like out here trying to put myself out there, because I've always been so like, I'll put myself out sometimes. I can be a social butterfly, but most of the time I'm really just like watching TV and chilling, and I'm really a chill person. So I think sometimes it's great to be hard to read, because then you don't attract everybody. You attract the right ones, you know, the ones that are willing to be like, okay, I want to network with you because I see potential.
Oh, yeah. And it's like a beautiful thing, like you said, when other people notice things in you. And especially, and also, well, for me, I feel like my journey has been like me noticing more in myself, because I never was around, like, similar to you. Like, I went out sometimes, but I was fine with being home. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I watched SpongeBob till I was about to graduate and through.
If SpongeBob is on now on the TV, I still click the button. I'm like, oh, SpongeBob's on, and apparently he has new episodes. So I'm like, that's even better.
Right? I was like, I was at the house.
Yeah.
And for me, like, now I'm just kind of like coming into my own more, wanting to have a voice and wanting to like stand up for myself with anybody, because I'm seeing all these things, and I feel like when I had my moment of like, I don't want to do this anymore, I feel like God started to show me things and show me what I will look like in 5 years if I paid attention, 10 years if I paid attention. I see like the house I'm going to live in, the things I'm going to be doing. And I feel like he said to me, it's like, do all these things, try to make these pictures happen, and you'll figure it out as you try to make these things happen. And that's how Young Monarchs came to me. That's how being able to connect with women that I've known forever, but not have ever been like that close to, just being able to be myself, and me seeing that being myself is working.
Yeah, that's the caveat, I think, to just being any sort of personality, but then just turning it over and just being a person, like an individual. I've learned that most people love people that are themselves. for real. And I sometimes look at people and I'm like, oh, they're acting like, I don't want to say funny or weird, because that's just who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're acting like themselves, and people love it. And then I tend to gravitate towards that because it's like, oh, you're unapologetically who you are.
Yeah.
And so when you get to, I want to get to that. I haven't gotten to that completely, but when I get to that, where it's like, I don't care if I say something funky or weird, like, and people are looking at me crazy. I want to get to that point where I'm unapologetically who I am, because those people are loved. Like, I think I saw Lil Yachty. He posted some bang or something, like he had his hair straight from the Oprah video that he did. And, you know, I was looking at him, I was like, you know, why do people love Lil Yachty so much? Like, people love this man, him and Lil Uzi. And I was just like, why? And I thought about it. I was just like, you guys really do whatever you want. You cross social standards. You don't conform to men can't wear nail polish and all this stuff. Men can't straighten their hair. You do whatever you want without people, like, who cares what the naysayers say?
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I feel like, what has made them great. You know, most people such as them that are just making money off of who they are, because Lil Uzi gets streams just based off because of who he is. Like, it's ridiculous. Because personally, I'm not a big Uzi music fan. I'm like,
I have wondered the same thing, how his music does so well.
Yes, I'm just like, how are you getting so many streams, dude? Like, because you're not even like Beyonce. Like, I don't get it. But it's because he is literally himself, and nobody. And you're always gonna be attracted to people that are just themselves, because it's like, you want that sort of energy. You want that. And you know, getting older and just learning that, it's like, okay, like, in any arena, I'm always going to be myself. When I'm interviewing with people, I'm going to try to be myself. I think at one point I was trying to be a personality instead of thinking I am a personality. And when you get over that, then you realize, like, you are who you are. It's not you trying to put on a persona. Like, you don't need to be, Bonnie Banks is not a separate extension of me. I do business as Bonnie Banks because that's who I am.
I need to put some snaps in right here.
There you go. Dropping some gems.
Okay, so this has been amazing. I love this whole episode.
I know, this is great. I'm so glad I got to talk to you, because I think it's interesting to reconnect with people from high school like this too, just because you don't know where people are now. And I follow some of the people that I did talk to in high school, and, you know, of course you're one of them, and like other people, and like, you get to see just where everybody has gone and different lives that they've chosen and things like that. And I would hope that, you know, I can connect with people like you from high school that are doing things that are similar in my field, and now we can help each other, because it's like, I know you and I know the type of person you are. I can't say that you haven't changed or grown, because you know, I feel like the person you were before that I knew is like, you've always been good. I've never felt anything bad or, you know, anything like that. Like, I've always just thought you were kind of quiet. Like, you were just like, we're just here, we're cool, you know. So when you reached out, I was like, oh yeah, like, I don't mind doing anything that she needed me to do, because I know that you're a good person, because I've experienced you in the past, and I can't imagine that you have changed in that aspect of morality. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes I love to just kind of reconnect, and especially with people that I know that I feel like I can trust them.
Oh yeah, because I love everything that you have been doing, and just of like, I support any woman creating space for themselves.
Yes, yeah. Like, I see all of our girls doing stuff. I think Danny has her own line, so I support that. And like, it's great too. One of the things that I will say that I have ran into is that a lot of women don't want to share their journey, or they don't want to share information. Like, they feel like it's all a competition. And I really want to change that stigma in just the girl world. Like, that girl code that's there is just disgusting to me. Like, I want to see other women win. I want to be able to watch your journey and be like, okay, like, how can I maneuver myself in the same aspect that you did, and still create my own lane, you know, at the same time, because I feel like that's what it is. We should all be inspirations of each other, not competing with each other. And that's why it's so bothersome sometimes when I reach out to other women and they don't respond, or you're looking for a mentor and you can't find one because it's like she feels like you're trying to fight in the same position. Like, no, sis, we can both do podcasts. Like, I'm not you and you are not me. When somebody wants to hear what I have to say, then they're going to click on me. When somebody wants to hear what you have to say, they're going to click on you. It's the same thing, you know? And I feel like we can all coexist in this arena. We just need to support each other and stop trying to fight so much. And people talk about it, but I don't think that they actually know, like, this is legit something that's going on. Like, we're not just talking anymore. It's not just a stigma. It's women are literally fighting for the same opportunities, and we shouldn't.
Yeah. And just like everybody's blessing has a name on it.
Mm.
So I feel like when I'm doing things or when I'm around people and they say something and it makes me think of, I was talking to one of my friends who's working on a channel, and she was looking for somebody to do like her intro videos and all kinds of stuff like that. I instantly knew a girl who did mine. And I was like, that blessing is for her.
Yeah, that's for you, because I can't do it, but here you go. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, like you said, blessings always have names. Doors always have names. I learned that too. I don't work with Intercom anymore. And of course, that was heartbreaking. Like, I left the paralegal job, and then I ended up, Corona messed up Intercom. And so I was like, like, I was just getting started. I was getting all these artists. New Lanta was getting all these artists. We were doing so well. And then here comes Corona. And, I look back now and I'm just like, with Corona, me and Millie got closer. We were doing lives every Monday. We figured out where we wanted our direction for New Lanta to go. And now we're back, but the streets is open. You know what I'm saying? Like, now we're doing so many things. There was one particular live we did with Triggs, and he signed a Snoop Dogg. We did a live with him. Didn't know him from Adam. Like, I reached out to him. I think he followed me. I was like, okay, cool. Like, he's an artist. Great. Reached out to him, did a live. He, I guess, just thought about us the other day and was like, hey, would you like to come get an exclusive interview behind the scenes?
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah, of course we would. Like, I'm not going to say no. But it was just, that moment just made me think that people are watching you.
Yeah.
And that you're going to come in contact with the right people, and things that are for you are always going to be for you. Because he could have reached out to anybody, but he thought of us. And he was like, I'd love for you guys to come and do it. And I was just like, great. Like, he has other connects that he could have done. We ended up getting, and in the midst of that, we ended up getting an interview with K Major, who's another big deal here in Atlanta too. And then K Major tweets us out, and we're like, oh my gosh. Like, so people were like supporting us. And I just realized, I was just like, that was my opportunity. We had to have the lives through Corona in order to meet this guy, so it wasn't that I got let go of Intercom and my door shut. It was just like, oh, okay, that was your time. You got what you needed from there. I know the program director. If I ever wanted to reach out to him for the game or for the radio, I can reach out to them, and they know me by name, and I can text them. I have their contact if I ever wanted to come back. And people from B103 leave and come back all the time. They always do that. They're always bringing people back from 5 years ago, 7 years ago. So it was like, that was just my time to go. And I had to understand that, like, God was pulling me out of something for something better. It wasn't that he was like, oh, that's what that was. So I always try to just think of, things are always happening for me, always happening for a reason, good or bad. And you just have to think of the bad ones are usually bad. To me, always means that something is shifting. Something is moving for something better. That's what it always means. Because usually what happens, when you're making a puzzle, the puzzle doesn't come to you already made. It comes to you makeshift, right? And then if you have the pieces wrong, you got to take the pieces apart to put it back together. To make the whole puzzle. And I always think of life like that. So when you're going through it, just know, like, it's because things have to rearrange themselves to get back right.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
More snaps. Insert more snaps. So where can people find New Lanta more? How do they stay in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can follow New Lanta. It's NEWLANTA _. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We are on YouTube. All of it's New Lanta. We're on Facebook, New Lanta. We'll have some merchandise coming soon, so that's going to be exciting. And then, of course, you can follow me, Bonnie Banks, at THEE. That's the Bonnie, BONNIE Banks. I'm always doing interviews with artists. So if you have any artists or entrepreneurs or businesswomen that want to come on and do interviews, we do that as well.
Nice. Do you guys have anything coming soon? Anything that people should kind of stay tuned for outside of merch?
Outside of merch, that's about it. We will have a soft launch at the end of October.
Nice.
So that will be exciting. Of course, Young Monarchs is going to be there because we have.
Summer did take away your launch party.
Yes. Did. So we're just gonna do another one. It's okay. So we're going to do another soft launch coming up where we're going to have a lot of artists that come perform at least, and have some other, just a good networking opportunity as well. And that's about it. But we do lives every Monday. And then, we just cover events. So if you ever have an event that you want covered, we offer media packages and that kind of thing too.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode. Thank you guys for listening. This one was all snaps. So
I love it. Thank you so much.
But we'll talk to you guys next week. See ya.